Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. How does Pat Freiermuth have fewer targets with Russell Wilson than Darnell Washington? In 4 games with Russell Wilson, Darnell Washington has seen 12 targets to Pat Freiermuth's 10. Justin Fields started the first 6 games of the Steelers season, and they produced very different numbers. In those 6 games, Freiermuth drew 25 targets to Washington's 7. Now, Darnell Washington has clearly earned more receiving opportunities, but more than Pat Freiermuth? The Steelers can't possibly feel that way, considering the contract extension they gave him. Russell Wilson is barely throwing to him 2 times per game, despite averaging just over 30 attempts. So why is it exactly that Freiermuth is seeing so few targets from Wilson, especially relative to Washington? Well, as far as the last 2 weeks are concerned, Washington is actually outsnapping Freiermuth. But the difference is largely minimal. They had the same number of snaps last week, and that also wasn't true of Wilson's first 2 starts. The Steelers don't exactly design many plays with Darnell Washington as the primary target. That is supposed to be what they want to do with Pat Freiermuth, but we're not really seeing that. It seems as though every week we're wondering when he is going to become a bigger part of the passing game. And it's not Mike Williams and his 1 target reshaping the landscape, though he is earning snaps. One thing you can say about Freiermuth is that he has been very efficient. On 36 targets, he has 31 receptions. He also has 3 touchdowns, more than any season since his rookie year. Darnell Washington is up to 19 targets now, with 12 catches for 168 yards and a touchdown. Between the two, only one of Freiermuth's touchdowns have come from Russell Wilson. The premise entering this season was that Pat Freiermuth was the Steelers' second-best receiving option behind George Pickens, but they are not using him as such. Through 10 games, he is on pace for 53 catches for 502 yards and 5 touchdowns. And the projections drop even further if you isolate his time with Russell Wilson. He has just 9 catches for 101 yards and 1 touchdown in the past 4 games. Seahawks sign former Steelers QB turned Swiss Army knife. The Seattle Seahawks are signing former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback John Rhys Plumlee, the team announced as part of a flurry of moves on Wednesday. Plumlee was released by the Jacksonville Jaguars from their practice squad on November 12. Plumlee signed with the Steelers as an undrafted free agent out of UCF because they promised him a chance to play quarterback. Throughout the rest of the training camp, Plumlee would get time as a quarterback, work as a kick returner, and plug in as a wide receiver. Yet, after the Steelers cut him during their final cutdowns, Plumlee had multiple offers and decided to head to Jacksonville rather than stay in Pittsburgh. With Jacksonville, he worked strictly as a quarterback. That is where Plumlee would like to work first before making any position switch to wide receiver or somewhere else. Such a switch might be inevitable for Plumlee, but he at least wants a shot in a game to prove that he can stick as the signal caller before giving up on that prospect and taking the route of Julian Edelman and others. The Pittsburgh Steelers have ruled out 2 players for their game against the Cleveland Browns. They will be without outside linebacker Alex Highsmith, ankle, and cornerback Corey Trice, hamstring. Highsmith will try to return against the Cincinnati Bengals, though that is not a guarantee. With Highsmith out, Nick Herbig and Preston Smith will lead the charge once again. TJ Watt will start opposite of them. Herbig and Smith will see Browns left tackle Germain Ifedi after the Browns ruled out Jedrick Wills and lost DeJuan Jones. As for Trice, he expressed lots of optimism that he would return this week. Yet, he will be held out as the team continues to work through his 21-day window. He has missed 8 weeks with a hamstring injury. The Steelers have 5 active cornerbacks on their roster, and James Pierre is entrenched as the top backup on the outside along with the gunner spot that Trice once held. Defensive tackle Keanu Benton, cornerback Joey Porter Jr., and tight end MyCole Pruitt are healthy and will be active for the game. Pittsburgh Steelers assistant general manager Andy Weidl could be a candidate for the open New York Jets general manager job. Weidl joined the Steelers when Omar Khan was hired as the general manager of the team following the 2022 NFL Draft. Weidl joined the Steelers after spending 7 years with the Philadelphia Eagles under the guidance of Eagles general manager Howie Roseman. Roseman gave Weidl the base for his philosophy: focus on the trenches and build from there. Since his arrival, the Steelers have done just that, drafting 2 tackles in the first round of back-to-back drafts and adding Zach Frazier, Spencer Anderson, and Mason McCormick to their room, too. Why Steelers could be a perfect landing spot for $160 million QB, per NFL Analysis. As Daniel Jones navigates a challenging transition after being benched by the New York Giants, the Pittsburgh Steelers have emerged as a compelling potential landing spot. With their quarterback situation in flux, he could find a fresh start and a chance to revitalize his career in Pittsburgh's evolving offense. The Giants have made a significant decision as they approach the end of a disappointing 2024 season by benching Jones. This move comes after a series of struggles, prompting head coach Brian Daboll to name backup Tommy DeVito as the new starter. After being a long-term starter for the team, he now finds himself as the 4th quarterback on the depth chart, trailing behind DeVito as well as Drew Lock and Tim Boyle. This demotion raises eyebrows, especially considering Jones's history with the franchise. Fans and analysts alike have been calling for a change for some time, but the extent of this demotion seems drastic. Moving from starter to 4th on the depth chart is a significant fall, indicating the coaching staff's loss of confidence in his abilities at this point in the season. With Jones now benched by the Giants, there may be a chance for him to find himself playing for another team. In an analysis by Bleacher Report's Andrew Peters, that team could be the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers currently have 2 starting-caliber quarterbacks who are set to hit free agency this offseason. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are both on expiring contracts, and it seems inevitable one of them will walk. The latter was the starter early on this season and had plenty of success, but the Steelers turned to the former once he returned from injury. Assuming Pittsburgh sticks with Wilson as QB1 next season, Fields will likely test the free agency waters and try to find a place where he can be a starter. That would open up a spot as the Steelers' QB2, and Jones could fill that place. Steelers may emerge as a viable landing spot for Jones following his demotion with the Giants. With both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields slated to become free agents, the Steelers could need a backup quarterback. The quarterback would provide valuable experience as a potential QB2 behind Wilson, allowing him the chance to contribute if needed. This move could also offer the quarterback a fresh start in a new environment. Ultimately, joining the Steelers might rejuvenate his career while bolstering the team's depth at the position. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Daniel Jones? Leave your opinion in the comments.